It's so much easier to see. Although I think I printed out just about all the shows.
Okay, I'll go to now, 8:01. Roll call. Alright, we have the approval of the September 25th agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on, are there any public comments? Hearing no public comments, we'll move on to the consent agenda. You have attached the July 24th regular meeting minutes, the joint meeting that was at the rec center on August 12th, those minutes, as well as the treasurer's reports. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? So moved. It's been moved. Is there support? Support. It's been moved, it's been supported, moved and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Executive committee, the executive committee actually did not meet last week. There was some attempt to be there, but unfortunately I did not have it on my calendar and was not able to be there. So we are rescheduling that meeting.
We will want to discuss at that meeting, if possible, the federal government's increase at the first of the year for the minimum wage for salary.
Oh, yes, okay. So when we were done with the meeting, maybe the executive committee can meet briefly just to re-coordinate that date.
Mhm.
All right, moving on to committee reports, outreach committee.
So we met and we had Kaylee Wilson from Peer Teamwork join. She's interested in being involved with our donor recognition event to plan that, as well as possibly joining the committee, officially. We kind of finalized some plans. Kaylee and I are going to start reaching out to downtown businesses to try to get some donations for swag bags and things like that for the event. And then I don't know, have you had a chance to talk to Hernandez and Kentai?
Not yet.
Okay. But things are moving along.
All right, business development committee.
We did have a meeting, we talked about a few things. We talked about our survey that hasn't been completed yet. I think we had about 90 some odd respondents.
We're up to about 150.
Oh, we're up to
now.
150, so that's great. So we'll have a little bit more accurate data, next month. The main thing we talked about was some new TIF ideas, TIF financing ideas, and that's actually the first thing on the agenda for new business, so we'll talk about that then.
How long is that Pulse poll open?
Till Friday.
Okay.
I'll log in and close it on probably Saturday morning.
What's the status of the hits at this point? How many people have responded?
We're up around 150.
Are there any results that surprised you so far?
Nothing that's super surprising. Some of the events, as far as what people are putting as the events that they're attending versus ones that are not as high as some people make them out to be. Yeah. Farmers Market and Lapeer Days are the ones that are at the top of the list. Bike night is more down towards like the lower middle of it. Car cruise is kind of mid, upper level. Concert series, kind of mid-range. So I'm going by memory and I haven't looked at it for a couple days, so it could have changed too.
There's nothing else for business development, placemaking committee.
So we are working on reaching out to CLG communities. There are 42 of them within the state of Michigan, just to have honest conversations about it and what their feedback is, how the program has been for them. Has it been good or bad? What challenges are there? What positives are there? And so basically we printed out the list that has been divided amongst the committee members, and we're all going through, making those phone calls. And so we can report back to each other.
Are we asking kind of like a set list of questions so that we're getting?
Yes.
Yeah, and actually, we hope to take the responses from those questions from the communities we do hear from. One of those questions is whether or not they would be willing to Zoom in on a meeting here so that you can hear their feedback as to what's working and what's not working for their CLG. And that would be, I think, a good way to kind of get a better feel of what we want to do. And so anyway, that's kind of the status. We're working on those right now. Anything else on placemaking you want to talk about?
I just got a call from Signs by Craney. They're finishing up the fabrication on our wayfinding signs, like to the point, they just needed to know, are they putting the holes in to mount them, or is DPW putting the holes in to mount them? So we should be seeing those real soon.
I think the events committee did meet this month,
We
right?
met, I wasn't there, but I've talked to Jim about it several times, and there's good notes in your package on what we talked about. But the main thing is that, and I'll let Jim talk a little more about it, but the main topic of discussion was that we kind of hoping that the DDA would have a little bit more a place at the table, so to speak, as far as events go downtown, and I'll turn it over to Jim from there. We
Yeah,
talked
so-
about this for quite a while, but.
So the placemaking committee would like to have the DDA more involved in events that are taking place in the downtown area, as far as even just the approval process or having those conversations. Right now, the downtown isn't included in the conversation on events that are taking place downtown, and being able to kind of help look at what the impact is on the area. So a good example, I just talked with Denise Becker on Saturday before I headed up north, and Tom Hansen from Tilted Access came over, and he's like, yeah, Saturday is Oktoberfest, so we're just kind of figuring out the layout for the pavilion. Well, the farmers market, their event is approved for under the pavilion. Tilted Access event is approved for under the pavilion, and in a couple of weeks, Nightmare on Nipissing Street uses the pavilion area and the parking area. So there are 3 events that are approved that are using the same space. So we were able to work out logistics for Oktoberfest and get that handled, and Denise from the Farmers Market is going to reach out to the Optimists and talk to them about setup for their event. But I don't think some of those details are being looked at when events are being approved, and we need to make sure they happen because not everybody might be that flexible or be able to be that flexible.
So when they get their events approved by the city commission, they're not giving enough details so that they can see that there actually is a conflict with the time and dates of all these different events?
I don't know, because I don't get to see those applications. So.
Is it,
We look at the event, I truly, we don't pay attention to, okay, we approved it for.
the same day?
Well, yeah, because they all happen at different times, the events come in.
Yeah.
So
It's a known
perhaps that could be
problem, but
worked on.
we haven't had the time to fix it. We know how to fix it, we just haven't had the time to do so.
Is it common in other communities for the DDA to have that input, that seat at the table?
That's a good
You
question.
could always come to the meeting and state your public comments regarding it, or
I don't,
put yourself on the agenda.
I don't even know
We'll call on it.
when events are going to be on.
Right.
Right.
Well, we can have a better,
Yeah, and the other challenge is
more
if it's an
communication
event
perhaps for that.
that's not a DDA event, I get just the notice that it's approved about it. So if people ask me questions, I can't even give accurate feedback.
And you're kind of our ambassador for downtown, so it would be, I think, good for you to have those details so that you can promote other events that aren't just DDA events as well.
So we're meeting again in November, and I'm working on putting together a policy based on or a recommendation based on our conversation, just for some recommendations or some possible recommendations to look at.
Anything else on events? Maybe?
Just that we should put a committee together. figure out what your needs are and how we can go about it if we can. That's my comment.
Okay, so other reports, we have nothing for subcommittee business. Center for the Arts. Joe?
Behind the Lens, out in the open, is the photography of Charles Lamont, and it is now open in Gallery 194. The Meet the Artist reception is on October 10th from 5 to 7. Tomorrow, Gallery 194 is hosting part of the Michigan Downtown Association. I don't know the exact hours because they've got it from 3 to 8, so. On September 5th, Alyssa Slotkin was the guest speaker for the Democratic Party that rented the gallery. We had a full house of over 80 attendees. And in the month of August, we had 51 patrons attending art classes and 29 patrons so far attending art classes in September. The PIC started off the month of August with a play called The Rehearsal. It was the first youth summer theater play directed by a student, and we had a total of 153 patrons. I've given you all a copy of the season brochure for the PICs, and if you'd like some at your business, let me know. I've got some here, and we are printing these in-house, so if you let me know, we'll drop them off. And Zach is still working on getting the exterior of Gallery 194 repainted. He's got the top part done. Now he's down on the ground. I was informed this morning when I walked in that the inspectors are coming to approve the HVAC system, and hopefully it will be 100% complete by this afternoon. The first event of our new season is this Saturday, Lapierre's Buried History at Mount Hope Cemetery from 3 to 8. We extended the hours from last year, so we're starting a little bit earlier this year. We currently have 60 tickets sold. Last year, we capped it at 100 and ended up with 130 people because 30 people just showed up at the cemetery. So we wanted to have a little bit of leeway, but they might still all show up at the same time. The Center for the Arts will receive a total of $44,450 in grant monies from Michigan Arts and Culture Council. This is for 6 grant programs. So we received $17,500 for operational support, $15,000 towards a new sound system, $5,000 for arts education, $1,050 for transportation. So this is money we can help schools to bring back school days, and a $5,000 partnership award with Michigan Arts and Culture Council. And so that's like, we're going to be a mini version of the Greater Flint Arts Council, but for the Lapeer area. And a $900 professional development award to help pay for me to attend the Midwest Arts Expo next September. And the Center for the Arts was the 4th highest grant money recipient in the whole of the state.
That's great. All right, thank you, Joe. All right, moving on to our staff report.
So first, congratulations on all that. I just got back literally at 10 p.m. last night from Sheboygan. I was up there for the Michigan Main Street Fall workshop. Topic this year was media relations, dealing with the media. But one of the side conversations I had was with Adrian and Coldwater and Everett, and they were talking about the current round of art awards, and all of them were significantly lower, and some of their organizations did not get any. They usually do. So that's awesome. Congratulations, great work on that. And speaking of Center for the Arts, we are in the middle of doing our MEDC storytelling rollout. Those have been very well received on social media. And this week we're featuring featuring Jill for the Center for the Arts. And she's our first 3-parter because she had such a good story that we've got Monday, Wednesday, and Friday lined up for that. So as I said, our fall training this year was focused on media relations, how to do interviews with radio, TV, newspaper. And it's unfortunate that Jeff's not here, but I'm going to send a message to the county press and the Lapeer area. All the communities were talking about their relationships or lack of relationships with newspapers, and media, and a lot of the reporters in those areas are looking for like the gotcha comments. And, you know, I was able to speak on how fortunate we are that we have a newspaper that is community minded, they're involved, they're active, they're supportive. The MEDC was very familiar with Wes and the county press, and they agreed, like, you are fortunate. They are one of the best ones to work with. So we're lucky to have them in the area. It was also timely because this Friday, Channel 5 is coming to Lapeer. They're doing their Wake Up segment live Friday morning. First interview is live at 5:15 in the morning. And I'm going to be taking my sister to the airport at that time. So I've got Dana Walker from the MDA. She's going to be here to talk about Downtown Day because that's the main reason they're coming. They're going to do a check-in live with Tammy at Essential Necessities, Cherry's Market, and Buddy is going to do one for us in the 6 o'clock hour. So a little bit later. Yeah. So I'll be sending them some information and kind of like some talking points too, so that they're prepared. But you'll be able to see that. So that'll be excellent. Also, the MEDC has officially announced their next round of revitalization and placemaking grants, RAP 3.0. So I'm signed up for a webinar on that for October 3rd. That could be very relevant for some of the big projects that we're looking at in the downtown area. Grant awards can range anywhere from $200,000 to potentially up to $5 million. So it's a big program, and it's also important why we need to take a look at like incentives that we can do locally here through the DDA. Also had good information, just good conversations on sharing our Michigan Main Street reports. We're in the process of doing our Pulse Poll survey. If you can share that on social media, it's live through Friday. It's a great way for us to get feedback on the pulse of the downtown, how we're doing and what people want to see. And that will lead to our impact report, which will pair well with our visitors report also. Michigan Downtown Day is this Saturday. And we are partnering with Emily City, Almont, and Lapeer to do a shopping challenge, Choice One Bank supporting that with some Visa gift cards. Great way for people to get out there and shop in each of the downtowns. And if they do, they can potentially win some money for doing so. And then just a couple reminders. Tomorrow we are hosting the Michigan Downtown Association for their regional networking event. We're going to do a walking tour at 4 o'clock. We're going to start in front of Tilted Access. And it all is in the social district. So if you wanted to enjoy a beverage while we talk about the downtown, feel free. We will end at the Pix Theater. We're going to debut our downtown music video and have our networking event. Ashley and Kaylee, wow, sorry.
You're fine.
Yeah, have agreed to bartend for us and help that event out. But we would love to see you all there joining us and just kind of networking with other downtown stakeholders and downtown business leaders. And then also you all have a save the date card for CEC, Connecting Entrepreneurial Communities, that is taking place next year, May 29th and 30th in our downtown. I've reached out to a few potential sponsors for that, but we're going to start getting boots on the ground and actively working with that. We start meeting monthly with the MSU Extension team in October. That's it. Oh, no, 2 more days. I will be out of the office October 7th and October 10th. I've got a couple doctor's appointments that I've got to be at.
Okay, moving on to our under new business, our DDA TIF revenue share.
So it was 2 months ago, we talked about the brownfield TIF and utilizing that as an incentive for new development in the downtown. Having a few more conversations with the MEDC and with some other DDAs and downtowns in the state of Michigan. Something that we can look at that is a little less red tape, a little bit easier process. And the MEDC recognized and has recognized for their grant projects as an incentive or a way for the community to support is just the DDA doing a direct TIF share with a property owner for the development. So essentially, you've got a property right now that has nothing on it, so there's essentially no tax capture. You have new construction, so that new building would have a taxable value. The DDA entering into an agreement with that property owner to capture the TIF revenue for that property, but then share it back to the property owner as an incentive for the construction. With the thought process being with something that's like a mixed use, you've got commercial, you've got residential, so you still have tax revenue coming into the community, and then of course it also creates growth in the surrounding areas too, so there's still a benefit to it. So it's very similar to the brownfield TIF, but it's done just through the DDA directly. So basically what I'm looking for is a motion to approve having that conversation in addition to the brownfield conversation, just so that we're fully prepared for potentially applying for like a RAP grant as well, just so we have a little bit more flexibility and a little bit more options.
Jim, could I add something to that?
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be a new building. It could also be a functionally obsolete building.
That's a good point.
And the reason I bring that up is I know fire suppression has been an issue here, and that theoretically could be an addition that could be made and then be paid back through the brownfield. The only difficulty being is you actually have to increase the value of the building while you do it, otherwise there's nothing to be paid back with.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point and Sheboygan actually mentioned they've used it for like obsolete buildings or buildings that are in disrepair as well. So that could be a potential option that we look at to support fire suppression also.
So the TIF capture, Mike, the TIF capture is just the additional value of the fire suppression system?
So if your building is worth $100 today without fire suppression or whatever, and then you put fire suppression in and now it's worth $150, you're gonna be paying property taxes on that extra $50 in value. Well, that's what is paid
That's
back.
what we're capturing.
Would that be done, are we thinking like for a set amount of time or to a certain dollar amount?
So for the fire site, for example, what we talked about with the brownfield was like a 20 to 25 year agreement. That seems to be what some other communities are doing. That seems to be like the norm right now. For fire suppression, I think we have to have a separate conversation on that, but I think that is a potentially good way to look at adding fire suppression to the downtown.
So this would be a motion, just kind of a concept, or improving the concept of what we're doing here. We're not working out, obviously approving all the details. So in regards to just approving a motion to go forward with entertaining this TIF idea directly with the potential home or the property owner, is there a motion to
So moved.
support? All right, is there discussion? Supported. Is there discussion regarding or any questions about this?
Mike, I had another question. So, who decides if a building is, what was it, non-functional or
Functionally obsolete.
functionally obsolete? Who makes that decision? And is there like a guideline for that?
Yes, there is. So the board, the brownfield board, is that also the DDA board here?
No.
Okay, so there will be a brownfield board here in the city that would have to review it and approve of it.
Oh, so that goes into the brownfield.
I'm assuming, I haven't looked at the law on this either, but my assumption is that that's how it would work.
Yeah, that's one of the avenues. I don't think Sheboygan, it didn't sound like they were doing it through their brownfield. They were doing it more just through the DDA.
Direct.
Yeah, so the law just changed in the last year and a half or so. So it used to be that the brownfield board has to do everything. But now, and I haven't read the law, the MEDC has been more open to like a direct DDA action.
Right.
Which obviously, if somebody in the board here were to benefit from it, you'd have to recuse yourself.
But now but can the DDA do that capture on the, I can't remember, the non-functional or the whatever buildings?
Functionally obsolete.
Functionally obsolete. The DDA can do that capture?
Well, that's what I'm saying, is the law changed recently.
Okay.
So I believe it probably
Oh,
can.
okay.
I just haven't looked into it. But obviously, it's gonna be then the board giving up whatever tip of capture it would have gotten in signing an agreement.
Can't double
Property. Yeah, right.
Well, the reason I'm kind of digging in on it is because one of our discussions in the business development, we were questioning where we stood as far as the brownfield board, whether we had one or it was expiring, or did we have to renew it, or
It's part of
So I
the
don't- I
EDC,
don't know.
isn't it?
where
I
we're
thought
at.
it was like a combined.
Tifa,
board.
EDC, Brownfield, I believe.
Yeah, it's all,
Is that what it was?
yeah, and there's actually a current slate of board members I thought on that,
There is.
yeah.
So Jim, you and I probably need to sit down and talk about that.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor, it's been supported, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. All right, you have, as you know, Elizabeth Moffett resigned from the board. Didn't have a quorum last month, so we couldn't vote on it, but obviously we do, and also attached is an application from another interested applicant. So I would need a motion to accept her resignation.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? All right, it's unfortunate, I was happy to have her on the board, and it's unfortunate that she resigned, but all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Right, no, I know, just it's unfortunate.
Maybe we should move back sometime.
Yep, true. So you have attached to your packet the application from Tammy Kuchar. And obviously she's been very involved in the downtown DDA. Essential necessity, she's obviously a downtown business owner. I think she serves on the events committee. So she's very involved. I personally think this is a no-brainer, but obviously I would like comments on, her application and whether we want to make a motion to recommend to, that she be appointed to the DDA.
So I will add that I talked with her, so she does understand kind of like the Main Street, like the 4-point approach, the overall vision of the DDA. Tammy is on the event committee. She's also on the subcommittee for Winterfest that takes place downtown. She chairs that subcommittee and she's been very active. Whenever we do anything downtown, she is consistently one of the first ones to respond and being involved and taking part. So, if you're looking for somebody that's invested in the downtown, that understands the vision of the downtown, and I think wants to see everybody down here to succeed, I think she's a great fit for our board.
I agree. I think we are, we've been saying that when we are welcoming new board members, that we want to see committee involvement and things like that. So I agree. I think, like you said, it's a no-brainer.
So is there a motion to make that recommendation?
I motion.
There's support? All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. No old business, board member comments. Hearing none, I don't think there's any correspondence, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion.
I know, so I always look at you. All right.
Did we want to have the executive committee pick out a date?
Kim, I appreciate you putting the recording on. I'm sitting in my
There's
office.
one that I can take my mom to have.
You might be
There. Maybe she.
So is it like a written definition?
I'm trying to do it. I'm sure there is, but this is one of those things.
Megan, you got a couple of
Oh, yours is
So you got the MEDC. The MEDC started the program.
Thank you.
I said, well, we